Why do I do this to myself?
Hello everyone, and welcome to the JoJo ranking video that's like 2 weeks late because I get distracted. I have hamster brain and can never focus on just one thing at a time. Anyways, way back in the summer of 2020 during the pandemic, damn that feels like a lifetime ago, I made a little video. Every opening from the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anime ranked from worst to best, and it did pretty well. Even the re-uploaded version after I cleaned it up a little bit for copyright reasons did pretty well too. Needless to say, I think I need to start making more JoJo content. I'm sorry I've been sleeping on y'all. Today though, I want to revisit this discussion about the JoJo anime and its litany of amazing songs. Not only have some of my opinions from the original video aged horrendously, but I also wanted to include the endings this time around because they just get overlooked all the time. Everyone loves to rank and do their tier list of all their favorite JoJo songs, but they never include the endings. Why? I've been a JoJo fan for a few years now, and actually I just finished reading the last 10 chapters of JoJolion during the course of making this video. I still haven't read part 7 yet though, which everyone says is the best part. I should probably hop on that. There will be no spoilers in this video, don't worry. Especially for Stone Ocean because that's what's airing right now. Sorta. Curse you, Netflix! A lot of people are anime only, and yeah, the anime will be the focus in this video anyway. Comments, please be nice. In these videos, I usually use 4 things to help me rank each theme song. Music, obviously, art and animation, how I felt about the plot and the story at that time, and of course, say it with me now, the almighty nostalgia factor. This is one of the most difficult lists I've ever done, and I know I'm going to get fried up either way, but hey, someone's got to do it. There has to be someone or something out in the world that will do the impossible and do every JoJo's Bizarre Adventure opening and ending ranked from worst to best. Man, it feels good to be back. Number 20. This is low-hanging fruit here, but I'm gonna be completely honest. I ain't feel comfortable at all putting anything else in last place besides this. I'm sorry. JoJo's has a pretty freaking stacked soundtrack, obviously. So when it comes to a parody song like this, it's always gonna skew towards the bottom end of my list, unless it blows me away in a way that I could have never seen coming. Kind of like the Ginta Man opening. Shout out to Ginta Man. Ginta Man, Ginta Man. And I kind of feel bad about this, honestly, because, and I saw this in a comment under a YouTube video, like, it must have taken a whole heck of a lot more effort to produce this ending than a lot of the other ones. Creating an entire 90-second animation in the style of Toth's manga is very admirable. The movements here are wacky as can be. Sometimes it looks QWOP-ish, shout out to that game. And the coloring here really pops, you know, it's really saturated, even for JoJo standards. The song isn't even that bad either. It's pretty much just a theme song for some sort of Saturday morning JoJo spin-off series made for children. The Oingo Boingo Brothers chant throughout this ending really sticks in your brain, let me tell you. Oingo Boingo Brothers! And at the end of the day, it's just a neat little introduction to the Oingo Boingo Brothers, as well as Whole Horse later on, which I really enjoy. So why is this in last place? I haven't really said anything negative about it so far. Well, when your competition is some of the greatest anime songs in history and also a bunch of hidden gems from the wider world of music as a whole, yeah, it's tough. That's tough. That, and I barely even remember this was a thing until I saw it on a wiki. The Oingo Boingo Whole Horse episodes were alright, but definitely never top tier stand battles from part 3, you know? This ending isn't bad or even boring. It just kinda got the short end of the stick in this situation. Number 19. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. On the original list, this OP was number 6 out of 9, which still isn't, you know, great, but I rank this opening above Great DAZE. 2020 charisma was wildin'. Now, not only is it my least favorite opening from part 4, but it might just be my least favorite JoJo opening overall. I'm not gonna lie. And it's kind of harsh to say because, I mean, just look at some of the scenes in this opening, man. Forget 1999 Bizarre Summer and all that. This opening has the 70s written all over it. It literally turns Morio into a disco club. It's almost kind of like if you tossed Good Times, Full House, and Different Strokes all into a bowl, sprinkle in a little bit of Japanese culture, mix it all together, and boom, you get this opening. Like, I'm literally watching this just waiting for the characters to pause for their names to pop up on screen. I guess the reason why this is now my least favorite JoJo OP is because I guess there isn't anything that really like wows me, you know? The song is nice, but it ain't no Koda song or Jin Hashimoto song, that's for one. And the visuals are trippy, but this isn't anywhere close to as trippy as it can get, trust me. A couple of memes were birthed from this OP, like Josuke's jazz hands and the almighty Koichi stance, which is always entertaining to see. But yeah, by JoJo standards, and I just want to stress this, by JoJo standards, this OP is kinda mid. Again, which is saying a lot because just look at this floor tiling here. Jesus Christ. The bitrate suffers every time. Number 18. I just love the vibe of this opening, man. It's so eerie, so atmospheric. It matches up wonderfully with just how creepy Rohan was portrayed upon his introduction. And afterwards too, but not as much. All that borderline creepy shit just became his natural charm, you know? The color palette here is a wonderfully dark spectrum of purple, black, and gray. The theme song is a mix of one solo electric guitar and some pretty shivering sounding bells, smothered in reverb. And all the medieval undertones here I really enjoy too. Hypnotizing is the best way to describe this opening, I think. The transitions in this opening are seamless. It really gives you that watching the flow of ink in a body of water type of vibe, which is just too on point as an aesthetic for Rohan, honestly. There is another version of the song with vocals on it by Koda, yes, that one, that was used for the ending credits, but the ending is literally just that, credits. Not much at all to talk about here, but the vocals are still tight. Overall, great visual trip this opening. In terms of an opening, it's still pretty low tier. It looks more like an ending, if you ask me, and it's pretty short. But again, the aesthetic here, I love it. Number 17. Honestly, one of my favorite songs in isolation. It's one of the many songs from this anime that actually made me go back and look more into the artist. So now here I am in 2022 listening to a pop album from 2008 like it just came out last week. She even has a song with The Game. That's kind of hard, not gonna lie. It sucks though that the first thing that pops up now when you Google Duffy's name is absolutely horrific things that no woman should ever have to experience. But this video is about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Let's try and keep this clean and lighthearted, shall we? As clean and as lighthearted as JoJo's can be, I guess. For as much as I love the song in this ending, it is just nothing but basic camera shots of a beach, isn't it? Nowhere near the most interesting thing to watch on this list, but I guess that just speaks to the power of Duffy's vocals, honestly, because I still tend to get lost in this ending whenever it comes on. It's just so damn relaxing, you know? Cutting to this after the madness of JoJo's Part 6, like McQueen constantly trying to off himself, and the frankly hilarious battle between the team of Jolene and Emporio and Lang Wrangler. The juxtaposition is so weird, man, but it honestly works, you know? Like, there's literally all this chaos going on behind these prison walls, but outside it's so quiet, so tranquil. Hell, inside it can even seem pretty quiet if you're a regular prison guard, which honestly just brings me on to a tangent about how great stand battles are in the series. I just love how regular citizens all have like super NPC smooth brains. But yeah, as you can see, not really much else to talk about with this ending. It's very pretty sounding and pretty looking, but compared to the other endings and especially the openings, it's just a little bit boring to watch. Just a little. I do still get mad though whenever it ends because it always feels like they cut off the music right at the best part, bro. I hate it. Number 16. Oh, How the Mighty Have Fallen, Part 2. I thought the crazy, noisy, bizarre town thing would be my wildest take so far on this list, but I don't know, this one just hits me a little different, man. That grungy garage punk band aesthetic is right up my alley in terms of rock music. Long-term viewers know what's up. Shout out to y'all. So yeah, I could listen to this song all day personally. A lot of people do not like this opening as much as me though. I didn't understand it immediately. I don't know, chalk it up to me just wanting to be right all the time. But I think now I finally get it. This opening is probably the least JoJo-esque thing on this entire list. Chase is one of those songs that honestly could be used for any anime. I could hear this in Gintama, I could hear this in Haikyuu, I could hear this in Naruto or Boruto. I'm not saying that the song is bad at all, but it also isn't distinctly JoJo like the rest of the openings now, is it? Even Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town. And that honestly hurts it a lot, despite how much I personally love it. There's a whole Jodeci song on this list that sounds way more JoJo than this, and that's something I never thought I would have said, let me tell you. I will still stand by this though, a lot of the visuals here are top notch. The rotating camera shot in the beginning is so awesome of Josuke, Okuyasu, Joseph, Jotaro, and Koichi, although Koichi doesn't get his close-up shot unfortunately. Aya holding Yukiko's face here has always been one of my favorites. Somehow I feel like this is a sub to all the surgically enhanced women out there. The animation for this traveling camera shot through Raimi's alley is just jaw-dropping, and all of the stands in this OP look amazing as well. In particular, Echoes here and its new Act 3 sound waves. This opening still just feels out of place in this series, man. Number 15. Bro, it's a Jodeci song. The most left field but absolutely exquisite piece of art that Araki and the JoJo anime staff ever put together. Bro, the poses? Bro. Hey, yo. Who do I give all the praise to for these poses here? Now, Katsushita is the one credited for the storyboards and the overall direction, so my God, these deserve to be in an art museum. Bruno and Sticky Fingers, Mista and Sex Pistols, Narancia and Aerosmith. It just goes on with this side-scrolling showcase of the main cast from Part 5, along with each of their stands. Excluding Trish, obviously, because we weren't that far into the story yet. There's so much Michelangelo inspiration shining through here, to be honest, which really just helps my point that Part 5 is still, to this day, the sauciest and drippiest part of all of JoJo's. There is a second version of this ending that uses some CGI animation to show off Gold Experience's standability. It also switches from a horizontal scroll to a vertical scroll, with all the characters on a gold background instead, which is pretty cool, especially the background. But honestly, I feel like the first version is still better. Don't fix what ain't broken, you know what I mean? This last scene of everyone in their stands carved into a stone tablet, though, is pretty dope, I'm not gonna lie. Overall, another ending, kind of like Distant Dreamer, that doesn't really have a lot going on in terms of motion, you know? But these poses, man, and the backgrounds here in both versions, it's the only anime song I could play around my mom that we could both sing along to. It's honestly cool as hell. Araki is cultured, man. That's all I gotta say. Man's got a freaky side. Hey, yo! Number 14. This ending has always been such a joyride for me, man. I wasn't around in the 80s to feel this song in real time, but yeah, I see why Generation X shits on our generation's music so much. It's a shame this ending isn't any higher on the list. The song by itself is top 10 easy, but I think it's safe to say that this is still the point in the video where the visuals in particular really start stealing the show. It's something about the way the camera moves in this ending that I just can't take my eyes off of it, man. Basically, it walks us through the main cast of Part 3, Jotaro, Kakyoin, Avdol, Mr. Joestar, and Polnareff, each showing off their stands, also with the tarot cards that each of them are named after. And actually, I'm getting a lot of 70s vibes from this opening as well. There's a bunch of psychedelic influences here in the way that the camera slowly pans across these images, the transitions, and especially in these really colorful and artsy type backgrounds. It's so easy to get lost in this ending, man. The first part of Stardust Crusaders was a bit Monster of the Week-ish, hurting its replay value for me, but the ending and the opening, which we'll get to, trust me, both need their credit for being absolute bangers, man. Walk like an Egyptian. Number 13. Much in the same vein as Walk Like an Egyptian, this song is a total vibe, man, albeit a little bit more subdued. The I Want You ending has a little bit of an edge over Walk Like an Egyptian for me, though. First, I could stare at this image of Tomoko all day. I mean, hey, I love Lisa as much as the next guy, but I'm sorry, she has nothing on the baddest MILF in all of JoJo's. Lisa's always been like a sensei to me anyway, you know, a mentor. I've never really seen her in such a lewd light, you know? But back on topic, this ending also has an edge because of this perpetually forward moving camera shot, man. It's so cool. Starting off somewhere near Josuke's house, we slide past Jotaro and Tomoko, all the way through to the train station and into downtown Morio, where we see Yukiko, Tamami, and Toshikazu. We go even further into the city until we reach a park with the Nijimura brothers, Okuyasu and Keicho, just chilling. Josuke pops in real quick to lip sync the song because he's just vibing like the rest of us, until we go back to the original shot, now zooming into one of the windows on a house that Josuke is holding, showing off now Koichi and his family. After this, we then reach the pier, and inside the light of the lighthouse is a peace sign which transitions us into the brooch on Josuke's jacket as his reflection shows in a diamond, which zooms out to be a part of one giant J covered in all types of jewels and Easter eggs from part 4. And the best part about the style of this ending is in how the studio continued to add in all this little stuff as the story progressed. So slyly, almost to the point where you can't even notice a difference. Things like Yuya Fungami, Alien Guy Mikitaka, Ken, Shigechi, Rohan, Yoshihiro Kira, Akira, Joseph, and even Yoshikage himself. Again, this ending is very subdued, but it's also very busy at the same time. There's even Easter eggs here regarding the rock people. It becomes a little bit played out after binging all of part 4 because it's the only ending from Diamond is Unbreakable, so that's like, what, 40 episodes? At least they kept adding stuff to spice it up every few episodes, and once again, Araki deserves his own playlist on Spotify or something. This man has a phenomenal taste in music. Number 12. Man, people hated me for having this opening in last place, but I'm gonna say the same thing I said last time. I do not hate this ending at all. Still, unfortunately, it still isn't quite in my top 10 just yet. And no, it's definitely not superior to Fighting Gold. However, I did not at all do this opening justice the first time I reviewed it. The art here is just astounding, bruh. Specifically, any clouds or smoke that we see. Basically, this opening is a recap of all the story events and battles leading up to the moment where Bruno and Trish were almost killed by the boss on Okay, hold on. I'm practicing my Italian. San Giorgio Maggiore Island, which is what kicked off the second half of the story. Bruno and whoever chose to follow him, El Fugo, betraying the boss and choosing to protect Trish's life. Afterwards, everyone in the team demonstrates their stance for us, with my favorite animation here being of Mista and Sex Pistols, until we then start getting teased with all of these endgame components. Risotto, Doppio, Diavolo, stand arrows, all that. Originally, I was calling this opening anticlimactic, but I think that's a shallow way to look at it. One thing's for sure, it definitely has one of the best villain remixed openings. There's a version where Diavolo flexes on Giorno and lectures him in Italian about hopelessness and being unbeatable and whatnot. And then there's also the version where Giorno then awakens his gold experience Requiem, and they literally show the entire final battle, more or less. I'm not kidding. Giorno looks like an absolute Chad here, and the abilities of both King Crimson and Gold Experience are put on display beautifully. The song still isn't my favorite by any means, but it absolutely fits the climax of Golden Wind really well. The hand kiss in the beginning and then the singing, the gangsta with the sun shining in the background, yo. Hey, yo, this will always be raw as hell. Sometime mafioso, Big Don shit, you know what I'm saying? Number 11. Well, yeah, obviously there's nothing to talk about here. There's no OP. I at least hope that we get a new OP when the anime comes back. Not that I hate the first Stone Ocean OP though. I still haven't seen it on this list yet, huh? Interesting. In the manga, Stone Ocean is roughly the same length as Diamond is Unbreakable and Golden Wind, So it's hard to tell if they'll split it into 3 sections like part 4 or 2 sections like part 5, especially with the whole Netflix thing. But I think regardless, we're gonna get another Stone Ocean OP at some point, and I don't foresee it being bad at all. So here I am ranking this for the future, I guess. I just hope that this placement ages well. Who knows? If it's good enough, maybe it'll even end up being better than my next pick. But that's a tough one to beat, let me tell you. Number 10. Here we have the absolute pyrotechnic show of an opening, JoJo's Sonochi no Kyoku End of the World, otherwise known as JoJo Memories of That Blood End of the World, or just End of the World for short. And yeah, there isn't a single second to catch your breath at all in this opening, besides the beginning, I guess, where we get reminded of all the history leading up to this ultimate decisive final battle in the city of Cairo. After this, we rush straight to the desert as we see each of the Crusaders demonstrating their stance for us. Lovely. 30 seconds in and the CGI is already crispy as hell. On the stairs leading up to Dio's hideout, we get silhouettes of each of the stands that the boys have had to battle on their way here, being projected onto the wall via a spotlight. And as soon as Star Platinum emerges, I cannot even tell you what's going on anymore. The music kicks in the 5th gear as the hook starts going crazy, and we get all these spectacular sequences of the Crusaders turning into neon silhouettes, I think, and even actual shooting stars. Jesus, the backgrounds here are oh god. Jotaro marches his way up the stairs, and here's where we get to the Zawarudo! Dio, as smug and as conceited as he could be, uses the world to stop time and walk past Jotaro ever so calmly. And the tension here is unbearable. The only sound we get is the clopping of Dio's shoes, and it's so intense. Jotaro eventually breaks free though, and the rest of the OP is literally just punches. Ora-oras and mudamudas everywhere. With sound effects, this opening makes me sweat. That's how intense it is. But even without sound effects, it's still a complete adrenaline rush. You can see it. As an actual song in isolation away from JoJo's, it is very over the top and it is structured a bit weirdly, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I would never have this song in a regular music playlist. But, I mean, between the climax of Stardust Crusaders, the still breathtaking visuals here, and just the sheer intensity of this OP overall, like, I'm just nitpicking, right? This opening is fucking awesome. Number 9. Here at number 9, we have the complete contrast to what we just talked about. This ending has a totally different vibe from the opening. One that I actually prefer because it doesn't make me feel like I just ran 3 miles. After the final episode where Jotaro's mom is finally saved and everyone eventually parts ways, this ending hits different, bruh. Especially after seeing Avdol and Iggy, 2 people that unfortunately couldn't finish the journey with the rest of the crew. Spoiler warning, by the way, like 20 minutes into the video. Let's go. While going through multiple day and night cycles, the camera pans across horizontally to show each of the Crusaders just chilling in the desert with a bunch of ruined billboards and buildings scattered about, until it eventually zooms out and shows us Iggy and Polnareff looking out of a window as everyone enjoys this train ride through the desert. Much like the I Want You ending from part 4 and Walk Like an Egyptian right before this one, the transitions between scenes here are absolutely seamless. It makes it look like this ending is just one long continuous shot, and I love it. As the sweet and soothing melodies of the Pat Metheny group's Last Train Home caresses my ear receptors, the visuals then just continue to grow even more dynamic. The circular star trails in the night sky here behind our crew is just phenomenal to look at, and I don't know what it is about this downward panning shot of Jotaro in the desert that I love so much, but it's always been my favorite section of this ending personally. Overall, this ending is just a story recap, you know, a tour through Egypt and a swan song for the Stardust Crusaders all in one. It's utterly sublime. To me, it's a fantastic work of art and one that will always leave me with so many fond memories of the wacky and, well, bizarre adventures that these 6 experienced in Egypt. Number 8. I've brought up Michelangelo already in this video, but this is where I think it's the most prevalent. His influence. What an amazing mural this is, man. Literally, every time I watch this, I'm just in awe of how splendid everyone's stands look here. They look like deities carved into a stone pillar by some ancient civilization long ago that anyone could walk up to at any time and, pray to, confess their sins to, that kind of stuff. The first version of this ending only includes a handful of stands from part 5, but as the story continues, more and more stands eventually get added to the pillar. Starting from the bottom, using the absolute final version as reference, here we have Rolling Stones, Black Sabbath getting attacked by vines, Kraftwerk and Soft Machine, Little Feat, Man in the Mirror, I can't tell if it's dancing or trying to stab somebody, Beach Boy, The World's Greatest Tortoise, The Grateful Dead, Babyface, White Album, Talking Head and Crash, Notorious B.I.G. and Metallica, Green Day, and Oasis. How's that for your pop culture references? Then on to the good guys above them. Now we have Purple Haze, Boo, Fugo, Boo, Aerosmith and Moody Blues, Chariot Requiem, Sticky Fingers and King Crimson Fighting, I think. Really, it just looks like King Crimson is slapping Spice Girl's ass. Sex Pistols watching all of this in horror, and Gold Experience on the top looking like the absolute Lord of Lords that he eventually became. Of course, for the final episode, we see Gold Experience Requiem instead, in all of its beauty. It's a very simple ending, just, again, one continuous upward shot, but like I said, the stands here look awesome. The sparkle and the blur effects poured all over here makes it look as glamorous as it can be as well. And the song, I haven't even talked about the song! It's epic, man, and really matches the vibe of the climax to this grand mafia coup d'etat. It's a 10 out of 10 ending in my book. One of the most beautiful things in JoJo, to be honest. The full image for this is simply magnificent. Number 7.
遅い。この葉はくれ変怪熱奥義。
I mean, come on, man. I don't need to waste too much time talking about this. I'll just get straight to the point. Why is it not any higher on the list, you may ask? Because, spoiler alert, all the rest of my picks are openings. This is still an ending at the end of the day, so it is pretty slow and pretty simple, but it is without a doubt the best JoJo ending, like no argument. One of the greatest memes of the 2010s, to be honest. This was the original JoJo reference. Again, I wasn't alive in 1970 whatever to fully enjoy this song for what it is with the people in real time, but I do kind of remember it from that one Venture Brothers episode, and I guess even that in and of itself is another JoJo reference. Just Venture Brothers.
Hey, what's this one with the face?
Oh, that? Oh, no. You're not ready to step into the court of the Crimson King.
The thing about this ending, though, that always gets overshadowed by all the humor and great music here is the lore. This ending is a chilling story, quite frankly, about the history of the Stone Mask that set this entire story into motion back in part 1. Before part 1, actually. Part 0. We just see hieroglyphs of the Aztec rituals from long ago where the people would sacrifice others to their chief. And by sacrifices, I mean having their chief consume the blood of only the most beautiful woman in all of their tribe, because he's a vampire now thanks to the Stone Mask, and also horny. As we follow this blood trail, interspersed with various see-through images of characters from Phantom Blood, depending on the episode, we then see the Aztec after party until they're all inevitably decapitated by the sun. The second version of this for battle tendency uses a different section of the song and switches to a vertical scroll instead, starting with the Stone Mask and showing us a beautiful mural of the Pillarmen and many other characters involved in whatever episode you're watching. Cars, what is up with your arm here, bro? The music is fire, obviously. The visuals are fire. The first season of JoJo is a weird one because there aren't any stands in it, but young Joseph Joestar is still one of the best protagonists in the series to this day. Also, everybody watching this needs to listen to the full 8-minute version of the song if you haven't already. It is nothing short of musical genius. Number 6. Alright, so this was a last minute decision. So last minute that I actually had to go back and re-record this entire section. Not having Sono Chino Sadame in your top 5 is crazy. That's crazy, I know. Have I finally lost it? Has the Naruto versus Ichigo debate finally gotten to me and rotted my brain? Just like Roundabout, this is a cherished piece of weeb culture right here. Not my favorite opening from the series personally, but definitely the most iconic, I would say. I feel like this opening could be the theme song for any part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. That's how all-encompassing it is with that JoJo energy. You probably won't need to watch the first part after seeing this though, because this opening pretty much tells the entire story of Phantom Blood. We start off with manga panels of each JoJo protagonist in the series, from this timeline, that is, until Jonathan's panel comes to life, ushering in the title logo. After this, we jump straight into the Joestar Mansion, and there's just beautiful camera work going on here as we see Jonathan's and Dio's first encounter, which brings Erina into frame, getting ready for a kiss, all kawaii and whatnot, until Dio goes to steal it instead. City boys, we up. We then get a cool POV shot from Dio as a brawl ensues between him and Jonathan. Dio then acquires the stone mask and is shot by police, which obviously doesn't work. And then we get a reflection of Jonathan's last moment with his father until it switches back to Dio in focus, now marching up the walls of the burning Joestar Mansion. Dio gets a quick photo montage until it switches back to Jonathan now, marching up the stairs to where Dio is waiting for their final confrontation. And let me just say, the Hamon aura here looks absolutely amazing. We get flashed with a few more manga panels from a bunch of moments in part 1, until Jonathan goes for an overdrive on Dio and a beautiful display of the final battle, which I guess you still need to go and watch, yeah, but everything else from Phantom Blood is right here. I haven't even gotten a chance to speak about how the literal lyrics for the song breaks down this rivalry between Jonathan and Dio, but I've already spent enough time on this. Absolute classic. I talk more about why I had to kick this out of my top 5 in the next pick. Just give me a second. Number 5. Maybe it's recency bias. I don't know. Yo, look at it. Just look at it. So many colors. It's pretty much the first 3 openings, Sonochi no Sadame, Bloody Stream, and Stand Proud, all mixed together, smothered in a mid-2000s pop-punk aesthetic, and it's an absolutely wild visual trip, let me tell you. You could pause this at any moment and get a pretty fire wallpaper. The Avril Lavigne influence is everywhere here, and it fits so well with Jolene's Joestar renegade energy, you know? This is our first time getting CGI since Stardust Crusaders, and it's honestly the best we've seen so far from the series. This camera shot of Jolene and Hermes on the prison bus in the beginning will never not be cool. Whether it's Jolene in her prison cell or running through the hallways, it's all very eye-gasmic material for a lot of reasons that I won't waste time going into. You see the shit. Panning through the hallways, now we get introduced to the various side characters as well as FF, until we go back to the crazy CGI freeze frames around other sections of the prison, and they're all gorgeous, but specifically this one shot of Jotaro and Jolene with water drops frozen in place is just incredible, man. We get Jolene under a starry night sky breaking out of her handcuffs like Joseph from that one scene in Bloody Stream, which leads to Jolene, Hermes, and FF demonstrating their stand like that one scene from the Stardust Crusaders. After this, we get a montage of a couple of stand battles from part 6 like Jumpin' Jack Flash and Foo Fighters, until it all comes together with a thread outline of the Joestar birthmark as Jolene plots her escape from prison. Overall, just a real breathtaking OP, man. Way more colorful and exciting to look at than Sonochi no Sadame, which is why I had to kick that out of my top 5. Though I guess in that sense it's kind of up to the type of aesthetic you prefer, but still one of the best usages of CGI I've ever seen, and overall just a banging introduction to this next saga of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I honestly can't wait to see how they follow this one up. Number 4. Oh, How the Mighty Have Fallen, Part 3. No pun intended. From number 1 to not even top 3 anymore. And it isn't because I like this opening any less than I did before. Stand Proud is still an all-time great JoJo opening to me, and somehow it's still underrated. I don't know why. Literally in every list from the comment sections under my original 2020 video and the re-upload from 2021, I see Stand Proud number 6, number 7, last place. Finding Stand Proud in someone's top 5 JoJo openings is like finding a JoJo antagonist without rippling abs. It just doesn't exist. Maybe there's too much raw testosterone in this OP for people to handle. You won't see too much flamboyance and extravagance in this OP that you would see in a lot of other JoJo material. And even though Stand Proud isn't quite as intense as the End of the World opening also from part 3, I think it perfectly strikes that balance between pure fight music and still being an opening that you can vibe to. I haven't spoken too much about the storyboarding in these openings or these endings yet because it kind of goes without saying that the studio kills it every single time. But in this opening in particular, man, I don't know. Every single one of these scenes and set pieces are fire. Similar to how I felt with the previous opening. Every single frame here you could pause and screenshot at any time and use it for a wallpaper. Structurally speaking, Stand Proud is just the Sono Chino Sadame opening, but on steroids pretty much. It's basically just the synopsis of Stardust Crusaders, just like how that was the synopsis to Phantom Blood. Real quick though, I just want to draw attention to this one image here of Jotaro's lineage tangled in a bunch of red thorns. It's quick and easy to miss, but I need a poster of this ASAP. Just look at it, it's beautiful. For the anime, it was only the second season, but watching an opening like this, it's easy to think that this was the grand finale. And there's a lot more in this opening that I could talk about, but as you can see, there's a lot going on here. We could be here all day, and, well, I guess that's the mark of a great opening if you ask me. Number 3. This is one of the hardest ones to rank because no matter where you place it, somebody's going to get angry. I mean, objectively, this is a top 5 OP, right? I think we can all agree on that. It can't be number 5. Nah, these visuals too crazy. But it also isn't number 1 to me either, which I know some people might disagree with. I don't know what it is, but Battle Tendency has always been the most forgettable JoJo part to me, which is odd because we have all these great things from it, like the Joseph and Caesar bromance, Lisa's entire existence, and the Pillarman theme. I think the meme of Sono Chino Sadame might overshadow this opening just a little bit, but Bloody Stream gets memed pretty hard as well. I don't know. I'm trying to justify this, but I just can't somehow. It's still a top tier JoJo opening. Every single time, man, I just continue to get lost in these neon silhouettes of Joseph, Caesar, and Lisa posing and sparring. Some animator one day asked how many colors should be in this opening, and director Naoki Yoshibe said, hi. Bruh. The scene of Lisa's hair flowing in the wind here and then her spinning into a bunch of rose petals in the red stone of Aja. The scene of the Pillarmen attacking the screen. Oh, this scene here of cars with the sun rising behind them. Hey, how you doing? Looking away for even a moment during this opening is just disrespectful, to be honest. The detail and saturation all throughout this OP is astounding. I'm running out of synonyms here. It's good, all right? Very good. And the song only enhances this entire experience by 100. Like, there's just no way humans created this, right? I can see why this song peaked at number 7 on Japan's Billboard charts. You know, I said that part 2 was a little bit forgettable to me, personally, but it did still give us the longest running and most influential protagonist in the entire series, besides maybe his grandson, as well as giving us one of the top 5 best anime openings, possibly of the entire last decade. Number 2. I will fight for this OP until my dying breath. Golden Wind has always had my favorite aesthetic in all of JoJo's. It's like the usual enigmatic JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that we all know and love, but just a lot more grand and a whole heck of a lot more gangsta. I mean, I know Giorno has a theme already, but this is really Giorno's theme, right? Like, come on. It hurt my heart how neglected Giorno was in the Who's the Best JoJo poll. I've always seen him as the most noble and the most cunning of them all. It was technically Bucciarati's crew, but real ones know Giorno was the true capo here. He was the true leader. Some people might call this opening generic because it is just the main cast from part 5 in their stands, but I think what they do with this little bit of content is actually really cool. There's a ton of super neat camera tricks in this first half, let me tell you. This scene of Abakio is incredible, showing his fallen former police comrade turning into sand and then him holding that same sand in an hourglass which flips over and turns into shackles and chains instead. Woo! Woo! I also really like this Narancha scene. Multiple shots of him with different backgrounds, jump cutting from shot to shot. Everyone here gets really cool and colorful silhouette versions of themselves, and the chorus eventually comes in, and the violin, man. The violin! It always hypes me up. I see it as a rather, I guess, regal substitute to the more aggressive metal-like background electric guitars from Stardust Crusaders, for example. In some ways, I feel like this is the most animated opening out of all of the opening. And that's saying a lot, seeing as how this is all in 2D. Not just the characters, but the backgrounds too. There's just so much movement in this opening. Some parts of it even look like an optical illusion, and I'm not lying. If you don't like me putting this above something like Bloody Stream, then I'm sorry. This is just the part of the video where I'll wear my biases on my sleeve, okay? But like, come on, man. At that point, like, what are we really arguing about, right? In conclusion, yeah, part 5 is still my favorite part. Journal number 1, baby. Woo!
Fighting God!
And that brings us to number 1. Ho, what could it be? There was a time when I thought this was my least favorite part 4 opening. I'm starting to understand why I get so many dislikes sometimes. Bro, I don't know what I was thinking, man. This is now currently my favorite song from the entire anime. It's always stuck in my head in the shower. I had to add it to the playlist rotation, man, because every now and then I just always feel the urge to go back and listen to this. First time I saw part 4, I thought it was ass. Not ass, but definitely a come down from the intensity of the battle with Dio, you know? The pacing wasn't for me, but I think that was really just because I was binging. I went straight from part 3 to part 4 with no breaks, so yeah, it was a bit jarring going from this high-stakes fight against an immortal vampire, ending a conflict that's lasted for generations, to, what did I say earlier in the vid? An anime version of Good Times mixed with Full House mixed with Different Strokes? Diamond is Unbreakable has aged incredibly well for me though. Like, Yoshikage Kira is my favorite villain in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Yes, even better than Dio. Kill me now. That's my last hot take for the day, I promise. And since I'm on Kira, I might as well real quick talk about the Bites the Dust version of this opening. Yoshikage basically hijacks the entire opening, while the second and far creepier portion of the song plays, as the entire opening is essentially played in reverse, with a few minor changes here and there, and some added psychedelic effects to emphasize Killer Queen's stand ability Bites the Dust. But even without Bites the Dust, the visuals here are still pretty psychedelic. This scene here of Josuke, Okuyasu, Koichi, and Yukiko walking through Morio is a perfect example. The background and the time-lapse effect here on the characters, again, museum-level trippy shit. Everyone pointing towards the sky, Yoshikage tormenting a poor boy and his mother, poor Hayato, Rohan's patio, it all just flows so well. It obviously goes without saying, but the music is freaking incredible too. One that I can listen to any place and any time of the day, and it's a total vibe. The Unit's version of Great Days is a wonderful nod to the series, including all of the artists from the other JoJo OPs. But to me, nobody sings this verse better than Aoki-san, I'm sorry. Again, like all of my top 5, I could just go on and on and on about this opening, but to put it simply, the Great Days is the most well-rounded, in my opinion. The song is a perfect fit for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, while also being just a really great song in isolation. It's pretty much the theme song to my personal favorite antagonist in the entire series, and it portrays all of Morio beautifully. And there isn't even any CGI, which can often be a divisive thing, even with how well it's used in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. They played it safe. It was the best choice for me that wasn't a personal favorite like Fighting Gold. A lot of people don't like Part 5 for some reason. Or a normie pick, super safe, like Bloody Stream. And that was every JoJo's Bizarre Adventure opening and ending ranked from worst to best. Once again, man, I was glad to be back. It's been a couple of months since I did a ranking video. I think I'm about to get back in my bag on these. I got a couple of ideas coming for the future. No spoilers, obviously. I'm gonna keep this short because, like, again, while I'm recording this, I'm still in the process of editing the video and I'm already so far behind schedule. So I'm just, just trying to get back to the working station. But yeah, if you like the video, leave a like, really helps out the video and the algorithm. Comment down below what's your favorite. You don't have to give me like a whole list like I did, but let me know what your top 5 openings or endings are. Just let me know what your favorite theme songs are from JoJo overall. I'm always in the comment section responding to people, liking comments, all that kind of stuff. I love interacting with you guys. The channel is growing slowly but steadily. So yeah, man, love all you guys. See you around. Sun time.
If it's me, I apologize. I'm just high, so sometimes I'll just emphasize. I'm just shy, so I really need to emphasize. After this performance, check my vitals, make sure that I'm still alive, 'cause I give it